Hi everybody, I'm here today to give you a comparison between the new Optimum H3000 cold press juicer, it's the second generation, and a Hurom juicer that I actually purchased on my own a couple of years ago. I'm going to touch on technical differences. I'm going to make a couple of juices with both the machines, and we're going to compare the juice, the pulp, how much sound it makes, etc. One of the first differences between these two juicers, as you can probably already see, is that the Optimum is a horizontal cold press juicer, whereas the Hurom is a vertical cold press juicer. In terms of difference, I think it's just the shape and the overall sort of look of it. I would say the Hurom takes up a little less space on your countertop if you want to have the juicer, just available to you every single day. But after using it, and you'll see later, I realized that this horizontal sort of design actually results in a lot less mess for you to clean up. One of the main reasons that I actually stopped juicing for a couple of years is because I just could not stand the amount of cleanup I had to do, the amount of scrubbing and rinsing and everything, and that's just a little bit of a hassle, especially if you're trying to make juice in the morning, and you're rushing out, you're late for work or whatever. So I'd definitely say that the Optimum is so much easier to clean. It took me about 5 entire minutes to clear everything out, whereas usually with the Hurom it takes about, I'd say, 10 to 12 minutes. The next thing I would like to touch on is the pulp control function. Unfortunately, the Hurom does not come with a pulp control function. I did get this machine a few years ago, so the new ones might, but as far as I'm aware, they do not come with a pulp control function, which means if you're someone like me who really likes a juice that does not have any pulp in it, you're going to have to strain your juice, which is actually what I used to do when I used this juicer. Thankfully, with the Optimum, however, you can see 3 words at the top of your machine here. One says low, medium, and high. These are the pulp control settings that you can set your juicer to control how much pulp actually comes out with your juice. Like I said before, I don't like pulp in my juice, so I always set it to low when I make any juice with the Optimum, just so I don't have to go through the hassle of straining it or anything after. Another thing is the feeding chute of the Hurom is relatively small. The Optimum has a larger chute, but I do want to touch on this topic for a brief moment here. Regardless of what juicer you're using, you're going to definitely want to avoid putting humongous pieces of fruit or vegetables into your juicer, because that is just going to clog everything up, and in the long term it might even damage your juicer. So I know it takes a little bit of time to chop up fruit and vegetables, but trust me, in the long run you're gonna prefer doing that over just for example shoving a whole apple down here. The next thing I'm going to touch on is the general assembly of both these juicers, along with the little spare parts that come with it. I'm going to start with the Optimum 3000. To collect your juice, you've got a cute little jar which allows you to, measure out how much juice you've actually collected. And then there's a small bin to collect all the pulp and seeds and everything that comes out. Similarly, the Hurom gives you a little jug that allows you to measure how much juice you've got, and also a bin to collect all your pulp and everything in. When it comes to using both juices, I like to line both the bins with a plastic bag or something else that allows me to just pull the pulp out and not have to wash it. That's entirely up to you if you don't want to do that, but that's what I do to save time. Assembly wise, let's put this here. With the Optimum, you simply just put this in here, and you'll see an unlock and a lock button there. Simply turn it towards the locked side, and there you have it. Really, really simple. With the Hurom, you've got this bit, you put it on, let it sit firmly on the juicer, and then you put the auger and the strainer and everything in there, tighten it, and you are ready to go. I did find that this is a little bit difficult sometimes because if you don't align everything in properly, it is a little bit difficult to close. In terms of functions, the Hurom allows you to make juice, smoothies, and possibly sorbet if you put frozen fruit into the machine. Similarly, the Optimum allows you to make juice, smoothies, and sorbet as well if you put frozen fruit inside. You can make almond and soy milk in both these machines, but the one thing that the Optimum has that the Hurom does not have is a heating function. So you'll see at the back here, there is a start and stop button, a rev button, which is reverse. That's what you use when fruit gets clogged or things are not moving. You press the reverse button. The Hurom similarly has the same thing, but the one thing that I was saying that the Optimum has that the Hurom does not have is a heat function. So if you're making almond milk or soy milk and you want it hot, the Optimum will be able to heat the milks up for you, whereas with the Hurom you can't do that. You're going to have to manually heat the milk up on the stove or in the microwave. So that's the one thing I really like about this. They both do a great job at making juices, don't get me wrong, but the Optimum, from my experience of using both of these machines, it is so much cleaner, it is so much easier to dismantle, there's so many less parts for me to actually have to scrub fruit pulp out of, and I really like how the juice just comes out in this little jar at the bottom without making too much of a mess. Both of these juices do have a tap, which most juices these days have, so that you can stop juice from coming out when you don't want it to anymore. But the one thing I found with the Hurom is that it is generally just a little bit more messy than the Optimum 3000. There's always a bit of leakage when I pull this off after making juice. However, with this machine, I did not experience any leakage. Sorbet as well if you put frozen fruit inside. You can make almond and soy milk in both these machines, but the one thing that the Optimum has that the Hurom does not have is a heating function. So you'll see at the back here, there is a start and stop button, a rev button, which is reverse. That's what you use when fruit gets clogged or things are not moving. You press the reverse button. The Hurom similarly has the same thing, but the one thing that I was saying that the Optimum has that the Hurom does not have is a heat function. So if you're making almond milk or soy milk and you want it hot, the Optimum will be able to heat the milks up for you, whereas with the Hurom you can't do that. You're going to have to manually heat the milk up on the stove or in the microwave. So that's the one thing I really like about this. They both do a great job at making juices, don't get me wrong, but the Optimum, from my experience of using both of these machines, it is so much cleaner, it is so much easier to dismantle, there's so many less parts for me to actually have to scrub fruit pulp out of, and I really like how the juice just comes out in this little jar at the bottom without making too much of a mess. Both of these juices do have a tap, which most juices these days have, so that you can stop juice from coming out when you don't want it to anymore. But the one thing I found with the Hurom is that it is generally just a little bit more messy than the Optimum 3000. There's always a bit of leakage when I pull this off after making juice. However, with this machine, I did not experience any leakage. Now, the last thing I'm going to touch on before we actually start making some juice with both of these machines is the vacuum function that the Optimum 3000 has and the Hurom does not. In fact, I think most juices on the market right now do not have a vacuum function. For those of you who don't know, if you make juice and you keep it in a bottle or in a jar or in a jug in the fridge, over time it is going to oxidize, lose its nutrients, turn brown, and I find that it tastes a little bit funky, like if you leave it in the fridge for too many hours. The great thing about the Optimum 3000, however, is that it comes with this magic thing. So this is a special cup that comes with the Optimum that allows you to use its vacuum function to keep your juice fresh. All you do is put your juice in here, cover it with a lid, and if you look behind here, you will find the vacuum function. I'll show it to you properly when I actually make the juice. You attach the vacuum seal to the top of this bottle. It takes about 1 minute for all the air to be sucked out, and then you have juice in a bottle that is going to remain fresh. It is going to retain its nutrients and its vitamins in the fridge, and it's so easy for you to bring out of the house in the morning, you know, if you're making it the night before for breakfast, because you can just bring the whole bottle out with you and out you go. Now after this, I'm going to start making a few juices with both of these juices, and we're going to see the difference between you know, how much pulp we've got, how much juice we've got, etc. So stay tuned. I'm going to start off making my favorite juice, which is actually green apple and cucumber. It is so simple, just 2 ingredients, but it's one of the most refreshing juices that I really enjoy. I'm going to start off using the Hurom. Here I've got half a green apple and half a continental cucumber. And for you to see in this plate, I've also got the same ingredients, half a green apple and half a continental cucumber. So we're using exactly the same ingredients, the same quantities in weight for both juices. I'm going to start off with the Hurom. Just switch it on at the back, and you're going to want to put your fruit in. I like to alternate, regardless of what juicer I'm using, I like to alternate, you know, between various fruit and vegetables. However, one of the key points to always remember is that you want to start with a low fiber fruit or vegetable first, followed by something that has got higher fiber in it. So one of the nicest tricks I've actually learned by reading online is that a lot of people, when they're making juice that has carrot in it, they put the carrot in last, because the carrot actually works as sort of like a cleaner. It helps you clean everything inside the juicer out so that you have less to, you know, clean up with. Here we go. I'm just making 1 portion, so, you know, this is going to happen pretty quickly. I haven't cut this small enough, so let me grab a knife. You're going to want to make sure the pieces are small enough to fit through the feeding tube. So there we have it, half a green apple and half a continental cucumber. It's almost done. I would say that this Hurom machine doesn't make too much noise. I don't find it too offensive, the noise. Looks like we're done. Once you're done, close the tap, turn it off. Really simple. Now we're going to do the same thing with the Optimum 3000. Now, I'm going to set the Optimum 3000 to low pulp, simply because I don't like pulp. And I'm going to turn the machine on. We're going to do the same thing as we've done with the Hurom, which is feed our fruit and vegetable. We're going to alternate the apple with the cucumber. Oops, I completely forgot to put that down there. Well, let's continue. I'm going to open the tap, wash my hands, continue feeding our apple and cucumber. As you can see, this machine doesn't make very much noise either. Nothing that's going to wake your roommate up, so you know, that's always a plus with appliances. And the last bit of cucumber. And I think we are done. we're going to have to press stop. And there you have it. Close the tap. Oops. And now we've got 2 lots of juice. Based off the measurements on this, the Hurom gave me just under 1 cup or under 200 mils of juice. And here we have also just under 200 mils of juice. So in terms of, how much juice both of these machines produce, it's about the same. Pulp-wise, this pulp's pretty dry with the Optimum. The Hurom's pulp is just a little more wet than the Optimum's. But in terms of juice, I mean, we've got 2 lots of really nice juice, and I'm going to show you next how you can actually store some of your excess juice for later or for the next day. And now for the last bit of this video, and what I would actually say is the coolest bit of this juicer, is that if you've got excess juice, since I made 2 batches before, I'm going to drink one in about 10 minutes, but the rest of this I'd like to keep for tonight or tomorrow morning. So with the cup that comes with the Optimum, you simply pour your juice in. Doesn't matter how much or how little you've got, it'll still work. Screw the cap on. And you're going to want to pull this first white flap up. You then pull out the vacuum function seal, attach it to your bottle, and press the little button in here. When you hear that noise, it means that your machine is vacuum sealing the water bottle. This goes for about 1 minute, which in the grand scheme of things is not very long. So we're just going to wait for it to stop, and that's when we'll know that everything has been vacuum sealed and you can store your juice in the fridge. I swear, 1 minute goes by so slowly when you're waiting. But there we have it. After it stops beeping, sort of like a microwave, you take it out, close that, and there you have it. Juice that has been vacuum sealed. It'll remain green, it'll remain fresh, but most importantly, it will remain full of nutrients. Nothing's gonna die or oxidize, and it's gonna taste really good, regardless of whether you drink it tonight or tomorrow morning. And there you have it, everyone, my comparison of the Optimum H3000 second generation cold press juicer and the Hurom. They're both great juicers, I can't lie, but the one thing that the Optimum, really impresses me with is the vacuum seal function, the ease of cleaning, and also how it can heat almond, soy, whatever plant milks you want to make in the juicer. They both produce really good quality juices, quite similar amount of juice that comes out. Pulp is also quite similar in terms of dryness, but the H3000 does allow you to control how much pulp does come out with your juice. Overall, both amazing juices, but if I had to pick one, I would definitely be picking the Optimum H3000 second generation. Thanks for watching.